Alright, what's up y'all, it's T-Tar, and I think I might have figured out what the Johto games later this year will be called. Now obviously, to start this off, Johto games this year is just speculation, but we know there's a good chance it's gonna happen. We have 2 years until Gen 10. They're gonna fill these 2 years up with games. So Johto and Unova, they're the remakes that are up next. It's probably gonna happen, and the big question is for Johto remakes, will it be like Let's Go? A lot of us were thinking, what are the names gonna be? Let's Go, Meryl, Pichu, Togepi. And we're all scratching our heads with this. And so the first part of this video is gonna talk about why they're not gonna be called Let's Go. And this goes back to something one of y'all told me, which is that when Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were made, they were actually based off Pokemon Yellow. Because in Japan it's called Pokemon Pikachu Edition, right? Kind of like how we have in English, Special Pikachu Edition, except that was the whole name in Japanese. So it was literally Pokemon Pikachu. So it was a reference to that when they decided to make Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. That's the thought. And so when I let this thought sizzle in for a bit, this is when I realized something, right? Maybe Game Freak is trying something here. You see, when they first went through the remakes, we had Fire Red and Leaf Green, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Maybe on their second run through these remakes, just as Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are not remakes of Red and Green, but Pokemon Yellow, the next remakes of Gold and Silver won't be Gold and Silver, but remakes of Pokemon Crystal. And in fact, because, you know, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was just referencing Pikachu following you, and it's the monumental game, that's why they maybe even gave it 2 versions. If they were to make this Let's Go Johto game, it might just be one version, Let's Go Crystal. Let that settle in, right? On their second run through these remakes, they actually go for the sister game. That's the center version. And this starts to make sense because people are mad at BDSP because they didn't include all the platinum elephants, the updated outfits, the different look for all the places. Maybe this is something they intentionally did. Instead of remaking Platinum within Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, they are keeping true to the script to prepare for the future, where on their second run through these games, then they focus on the sister improved version. You know, Heart Gold and Soul Silver did have some crystal elements, and BDSP did have the Distortion Powder Room, but they mostly focused on the original games. So let's talk about the name, right? Instead of it being called Pokemon Let's Go Crystal, we don't know if Let's Go, the name is gonna carry on. After all, that whole Let's Go crap is just referencing Pokemon Pikachu in Japan. But I mentioned this in a previous video, it would probably get them more sales if they didn't call it a Let's Go game and actually straight up named it like their other remakes. Kind of like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. It would be something Crystal. I mean, at this point, it wouldn't even be a Let's Go game, right? It would be more closer to BDSP. In fact, in a way, it might even be superior to BDSP because Let's Go graphics are pretty beautiful. It would be crazy to see Johto like that. But okay, let's say they name it similar to Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which would be such a mind trip after like 14 years to have a center named version for Heart and Soul, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So the full trio for Heart and Soul is Heart, Soul, and Mind. But Pokemon Mind Crystal for the Switch. Yo, I don't know, that don't sound good. Maybe it'll sound good in official writing. Okay, the more you think about it, it actually starts to sound good. But I'll hit you with a better name. Because Suicune has an artifact in Pokemon Crystal that after in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, they start to give it to Ho-Oh instead. But remember, this is a remake of Crystal. The same way Let's Go had Red's original look and a lot of the original concepts for the first Kanto games, not what Fire and Leaf Green had. This would probably stay true and closer to Pokemon Crystal. So the artifact for Suicune in that games was called the Clear Bell. So, listen, give me a chance with this. I know this is gonna sound goofy as crap. Pokemon Clear Crystal. I said wait, I know this title sounds hilarious, but it is literally up Pokemon's alley. Just give it 8 seconds. Pokemon Clear Crystal. Come on, make it to that 8-second mark. This is exactly what Pokemon would do, okay? Imagine Pokemon Clear Crystal in that goofy Pokemon font, mimicking the original Pokemon Crystal title for the Switch. 2024. Tell me that does developed by ILCA or something. Tell me that does not sound possible. In fact, I might have to make a makeshift logo here just so y'all get my point. But you never know, right? Because this whole Suicune Pokemon Crystal remake, that sounds so cool. There are things reminiscent of the original Let's Go games they can do to make this more appealing for fans to buy, right? More exciting in their hype season, which is that imagine there are just very slight differences in the story. So, right, realistic for how they'll do Let's Go. Like at the beginning of the game, maybe when you're first going to Elm's lab, or on your way back when you first run into the rival that kicked you at the start of the game, maybe after you beat him, he drops something, right? The clear bell. And so at the very start of the game, you get it. Then fast forward to the burned tower when the beasts run off after you encounter them, and then Eugene goes off saying, I'm gonna hunt Suicune. That Suicune actually stays in the tower, and it joins your party. Level 10 Suicune, let it set in. This is the whole Let's Go vibe. You have a Suicune that's joining you on your adventure. I guess it's invisible to Eugene or something, but it would replace all your HMs. It would do cut, strength, it would definitely surf. You would even be able to run on the water, something Suicune is known for. Don't ask me about fly. And a bit of the ending of the game would change, where Eugene finally finds Suicune. Instead, he would just realize that Suicune was with you the whole time, and instead there he just battles you. But it fits pretty well with the Let's Go theme. And I mean, think about how exciting that kind of is, and how much it actually fits the focus they put on Suicune in the original Crystal games, right? It's the special one that roams around and is like playing with the player character /Eugene. So making that the replacement for Pikachu and Eevee, even though I know it's a legendary, but it's this playful one, it actually fits, and it would be fun for fans to be able to have a legendary like that from the start of the game. We've never had that, right? The closest was Cosmog, and then kind of Zygarde. This would be a lot of fun. And so this idea doesn't even bring up major changes to the story, which they totally could do, like adding in terrestrializing. As weird as that sounds, Mega Evolution was in Let's Go, right? And then making cameos for the Paradox Beasts, just because they can. You know, they would bring in new additions, just like they added the Alola forms in the Let's Go games, right? So these things can happen. There's so many realistic things they can do in this game. And to mention another, the cameo. I'm thinking of a certain character in Paldea. See if you can guess who. What is a character that could show up a good 10-ish years ago in these Johto games that's originally from Paldea? Just a little cameo. It's not Gita. It's Larry. They would make it someone barely relevant like that if they did Mina. Obviously, something more interesting would be Briar. She could also introduce the terrestrial phenomenon, but we don't really have to get into that. But it sounds like she's been around the block, right? So she could legitimately show up in Johto. Okay, so let me know, my dudes. Pokemon, look at the logo, it'll make you feel better about this. Pokemon Clear Crystal for the Nintendo Switch, October 2024 release, developed by ILCA, supervised by MASUDA, in that mimicking Pokemon Crystal logo. Tell me you don't imagine something like that being announced in this Pokemon Presents February. Actually, now that I think of it, since they could use the cameo to hype up a more relevant game, it could be a character from Unova that cameos instead. Who's interesting from Unova? Bro, I would love... Alright, Alder, bro, he's a wanderer. I'm pissed, that's not gonna happen. But there's a lot of exciting things in Johto, y'all. Red, maybe even Ethan and Lyra would pop up as actual characters that talk. I mean, what's the original girl's name? Chris, named off Crystal. They might even go back to her, because they always go back to like the source with these games, right? Not like how it was in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I think it's interesting, y'all. Suicune following you as your main ride Pokemon in this game. You'd pretty much push plus on your controller, and you'd be able to ride Suicune the same way you did in Scarlet and Violet, except it'd be Let's Go-like graphics. Kind of like when you're riding like a Ponyta, a Rapidash. Let me know what you think about this idea. Tell me if there's issues with it, okay? I'm open to it. I'm open to being wrong, but I hope y'all enjoyed. Shank that like button, and 8 weeks until Pokemon Day. Let's see what they announce. Don't make me look stupid, Masuda. Come on, let me have some things. Take care.